Hello there, Hendrix here from Blankon Technology Solution, and in this topic we will talk about how do we implement Gitflow inside our development project. So let's get started. For the record, this is not a standard Gitflow where you can find it inside the documentation. We kind of adjust it a little bit here and there to match our client's criteria. And the reason that why we mostly use Gitflow is because our clients mostly are B2B, where from architecture side, better to start with a monolithic architecture, different with microservice architecture, where it will be more matched to use trunk-based development flow. We mainly have three different main environments. First is development environment, where when we build the feature, we upload it into development environment, and QA will help us to test the feature. This environment pretty much only for internal development team to test and verify a feature. And once it's been verified, we will move the feature into staging environment. Staging environment is for like partners or maybe our business person to check some specific feature based on what we determine on business requirement. This is kind of pre-production stage where we would schedule it to go to production within 1 or 2 days. And of course, the production is where our users or our clients can access and use our platform. In order to start working on specific feature, you require to create a feature branch. And the way that we create feature branch is from production branch. The reason why we go with production because we try to start everything from the cleanest feature branch as possible, and that's production because it's basically what our users or customers using right now. We don't want to go with dev because dev has a lot of bugs to fix, since this is for internal development team only. And the reason why we don't go with staging because a couple of features that not been released yet to production is there. So just to keep everything as clean as possible, we start from production branch. And when you're done working with the specific feature, you push your code inside that feature branch. It's now time to create a pull request or merge request based on whatever Git platform you use to the dev branch, so our internal tester can test your feature. So you have to create a merge request or a pull request here. When you create a merge request or pull request, there's a possibility that it will raise a conflict. So when it does raise a conflict, the way that we manage that, we need to keep this feature branch as clean as possible and as close as possible to our production branch, because at the end, we want to release this feature inside production. And when a conflict raises, we tend to create another branch from this feature branch. We name that as whatever the environment is. In this specific example is dev conflict, follow with whatever your branch name. So when we create this new branch, we have to solve the conflict manually inside our local with the dev branch. And once the conflict is resolved, we close this PR and we make another PR to dev using this new branch. So this way, this is the branch that will get dirty because we try to resolve conflict with dev only on this branch, but this original feature branch will keep as clean as possible so we can move along when we need to merge it to staging or production. In this specific phase, I often got question. Let's say I merge my dev config branch and it's merged to dev environment. Then our QA start testing and there's some bug found on dev. So when I need to do some bug fix, what should I do? Should I push to this branch or should I push to this branch? The answer is you should push to the original feature branch. So once you have your fix here, you no need to sync it with our dev config branch because your original commit from here already on dev. Once you raise a new merge request to dev, it won't get any conflict because commit ID from your feature branch previously already on this, so they only will check your new commit ID, which is the bug fix. Second most questions that I got is I'm working on feature B and I want to raise my MR to dev. Yeah, so this will be the new MR or PR to dev, and I got conflict. So I create a new dev conflict branch. And on some specific part of my code got conflict, it was changed from the other developer. So at this point, what should I do? As long as you know who worked on that and what feature branch that code from, you always need to mark, let's say this is from feature A, you need to mark these two branches is dependent to each other. Means that this feature branch need to go live first or need to go to other environment first before your working feature. So I'm not sure about GitHub, but with GitLab, we usually use GitLab. We could mark this feature as dependent to feature A. So this way we can keep tracking if there's a dependent feature or dependent branch when the specific branch want to move to other environment. Let's say your work is verified by QA on dev environment and QA person marked this specific feature to be pushed to staging environment. So this is kind of pretty much the same thing that you have to do. You have to create a PR or MR to staging environment. The same thing if you get conflict, let's say you get conflict here, you got to create, oh sorry, not dev, should be staging conflict and whatever the branch name is. So here we know that we need to destroy this PR because we have conflict. We need to create another PR or MR for staging. So this is pretty much the same. If you have dependent branch, we need to make sure that our dependent branch already merged to some specific environment first. Then you can create your MR. That's pretty much the same thing. And of course, pretty much the same thing when you want to release your feature to productions. Pretty much there will be no conflict raised when you create MR or PR to production because you know our feature branch is based on production branch and should go as smooth as possible. Next is how do we manage hotfix inside our Gitflow development. So hotfix is a little bit different when it comes to manage it inside our Gitflow. With normal feature development, normally you will merge it first to dev. When it's verified by QA, you move it to staging and so on to production. But with hotfix, there are two categories that we could do with hotfix. First one is what we call an urgent bug, means that this specific bug need to be fixed immediately to production as soon as possible. Second one is easy fix. So easy fix that we found a bug on production and it's easy to fix that. We also include that inside Hotfix. So with Hotfix, pretty much the same with feature, we create that branch from production. But the difference is once we upload our change to Hotfix branch, we create MR or PR into staging. So we don't go to this first because this requires a lot of work since it contains a lot of unverified work from development verified by QA. Since this is urgent or need to be to production ASAP, we upload that to staging, create MR or PR. Then QA person will verify it on staging environment. Once it's all good, then we can move it to production. We create another MR or PR. So pretty much that's how you manage Hotfix inside our Gitflow development style. That's pretty much explain how do we use Gitflow inside our project development. If you guys have any questions, please write it inside the comment. We will try to reply that as soon as possible. Or if you guys also using a Gitflow or maybe any other type of flow like trunk base, you can write it in the comment and why do you choose them. That's pretty much from me now and see you on the next one.